You can read lots of books about people's experiences with angelic beings. Problem is, some of those beings are no angels. Believers in life's race know that fallen angels or demons do Satan's bidding on planet Earth. Real angels serve God and God alone. Today, signs to help us discern the differences between very real beings who inhabit the spiritual realm we cannot see. Stay with us. From Chicago's Moody Church, this is Running to Win with Dr. Erwin Lutzer, whose clear teaching helps us make it across the finish line. In our current series, A Flurry of Wings, we're exploring what angels do. We're learning that angels are heavenly beings of great power, never having sinned.
No, remember now, angels are without sin, and therefore there is no jealousy. And as far as the angels are concerned, they can rejoice in the success of another angel just as much as they can rejoice in their own success. Because remember, if you were an angel, anything that God would do would delight your heart. Assuming that you would have a heart if you were an angel, it would delight you. In fact, you know that someday when we get to heaven, some of us are not going to be rewarded as well as others who served in places where there was no prominence, who served in obscurity. Are we going to be jealous and say, I envy that position in the kingdom? No, because we will be without sin. And like the angels, we will rejoice in those who have positions of more prominence just as much as if we were the ones who were elevated to those special responsibilities. What is the first test when you begin to think about an angel of God versus the other angels? Because remember, just as there are angels that stand in the presence of God, there are fallen angels that stand in the presence of Satan who admire him and who are there to do his bidding, and if they do not, they will be punished. What is it like, therefore, when you have a visitation that is an angel? How might you know whether this angel is of God? Well, certainly one of the tests is if there is any communication, you know that an angel of God always agrees with God. He agrees with God if he's from God. In fact, it would be interesting to see how many evangelicals even would respond if they had an angelic visitor that showed up, wings and all, and said, I want you to realize that God has sent me to you with a very special message. God has told me to tell you that you're a very kind person and you are doing these acts of charity, and with these acts of charity, you are receiving God's approval, and if you do them consistently, you will enter into heaven. I can just imagine it. The experience happens, and somebody writes a book and says, I was visited by an angel, and guess what he told me? And everybody, oh, wow, isn't that wonderful? My dear friend, if you have an angel that shows up and says that, you should turn to that angel and say, in the name of Jesus, be gone, be accursed. That's what the Apostle Paul said. He said in Galatians chapter 1, verse 8, though we or an angel from heaven should preach any other gospel to you than that which we have preached, let him be accursed. I was meditating on that this week, and I said, wait a moment, Paul, did you not mistake your theology? Why didn't you say if an angel from hell should preach any other gospel? Because surely an angel from heaven wouldn't preach another gospel. Dawned on me, Paul knew what he was saying. He was saying, if there should be an angel in heaven who snuck in with that kind of theology and therefore came from heaven and he preached a different gospel, let him be accursed. Be gone in the name of Jesus, out of here. Did you know that there's a very famous religion that was founded because a man had a revelation from an angel and did not curse him and believed what the angel had to say? And here you have this religion that is false, that is cultic, that teaches basically that man is God, all because a man had a revelation from an angel and thought that he should listen. First test whether or not an angel is from God is, does he agree with God? Because the true angels stand in the presence of God and agree with him completely on everything. Secondly, I want you to notice that Gabriel says, I am sent by God. That's part of his job description. I stand in the presence of God and have been sent to speak to you. Now think about that. The word angel really means messenger. In fact, sometimes the word can be used of human beings if they are messengers. Gabriel is standing here and saying, I am God's messenger, and because I am sent, that means that I'm not nearly as important as the sender. The ambassador is not as important as the president whom he represents. And therefore, the real angels always keep pointing to the glory and to the wonder of God, and they never take any attention that would be attracted to themselves. In fact, they disdain it because they want to make sure that God gets all of the glory. They are only on assignment to do what He asks them to do, and when they've completed their assignment, they vanish. How would all the angels regard the publicity that is being given to angels today? Well, it depends what angel you're talking about. If you're speaking of the angels of God, they are abhorred. They abhor what is happening today. To them, they see this as the uttermost idolatry, that people are going to be absorbed with angels and not recognize that the real issue is not angels, but one's relationship with God. But the fallen angels, they are delighting in it. This is great. Why? Because they love to have the attraction of people, and they love to have people think more about them than they do of God. And their greatest delight is when somebody prays to an angel, thinking that he's praying to an angel, and actually praying to an angel of light, a demonic spirit who appears as being righteous, but who is wicked. A spirit who does good things, mind you. All of them do. That's what the books say. Who does good things, but he does them with the intention of deceiving. You say, well, Pastor Luther, is this a new phenomenon? Well, it's new in the sense that years ago you couldn't go into bookstores and see all this stuff on angels. But I want you to know that everything that goes around comes around. During the ancient times, there was a heresy by the name of Gnosticism, and Gnosticism taught that there was a whole emanation of angels from God to man, and they began to sort out all the different angels, and actually philosophically they were much more astute and much more intricate than the kind of